Orin, what's up, brother? Hey, I'm seeing some good stuff here. We have definitely come a long way from our first day working together, as we talked about on Monday. And I know you're a little tired this day, but here is the thing with whenever I get an athlete that's tired, what happens is the invisible becomes visible. And what I mean by that is in our swing, whenever we have a default programming in our movement, what usually will happen is when we're tired is we'll go back to that defaulted movement. So this probably wasn't the best day to see your best swing because you were tired and had track practice doing your pyramids, your sprint pyramids. But here's the thing, that default pattern is still there, so it shows us that we got some work to do. And something that hasn't come around for a while, I noticed, and we talked about, was that you're stepping in the bucket a little bit. So let's first talk about what I like, and just reviewing some good stuff that we got going on here is our forward momentum is really good. You're really just lifting that foot like we talk about and falling forward. Naturally just letting that foot fall forward. Now, one thing that I think you're actually doing subconsciously is I'm actually been looking at this back leg in some of these elite hitters, and this is something we'll talk about because I want to be there to talk about it with you. You hearing it like this is going to be kind of difficult for you to understand, but I think you're building torque in this hip and you don't realize it. And the reason I say that is because see how that knee pushes out there? I've seen this actually in Asdrubal Cabrera too. I think this is something that you're just doing subconsciously, but it's something I'm looking into. So nice forward movement with that front foot. And then the back foot, the brake pedal, right? Look at that. Beautiful. Keep a nice stiff front leg. I actually just read an article on Bryce Harper recently. One of my readers sent it to me, and talking about how Bryce stiffens up the front leg and then comes off his back leg, and it was such an earth-shattering finding. It was a Washington Post article, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, he's swinging like Babe Ruth. His back foot's coming off the ground." Well, we've been doing that for a year now. We've been practicing that, and you're doing that really well, brother. Looks really good, and that's where our power's coming from. We're very close here. Now, like I said, we made the invisible visible because you came in tired, which is okay. And it was hot this day too. It was almost 100 degrees, so that didn't help. So we're stepping out a little bit, as you can see here with that front foot. We're stepping away, and today, on this particular day, we're working on the outside pitch. We're working on dividing the plate up into 2/3 and 1/3. A third inside we were letting go on this day. Not that we do that in the game, but the outer 2/3 is what we were working on, trying to sit on that pitch, let it travel, let that pitch travel and get deep before we take a swing on it. Now with this, obviously we're out in front. As you can see, we still hammered this ball pretty good. I think this was one of the first swings you took. But as you can see, we're stepping out, and what that's causing is a little bit, kind of that default, like I said, default movement pattern where our hands drop a little bit, and that stepping out will help with that. So this week, before I get to you, I want you to work on the step in the bucket drill. So wrapping that drive developer band around your ankle, and then finding something behind you, or that not behind you, but just at an angle to where your foot moves in the bucket. So straight out from here, and have that band pull you, and you resist that band. Do that until I see you next. But next time, what we're going to do is I'm going to start to work with you on, since we got our lower half perfect. It's for the most part perfect. We were tired, and you're still doing it right. So we know that's our default pattern for our lower half, which is really good. We set that in stone. You're not going too far with that back foot. Okay, just slightly in front of the back ball, which is great. So we can move on now. I want to move on and get you working on, let's see if we can manipulate the spine a little bit with your shoulder angle. I don't want you to work on this week, but next Monday when we work together, we're going to work on getting your shoulder to get more of a downward angle, and we're going to work on giving these hands, instead of you walking away from your hands, where let me erase these lines, so here your foot falls forward and your hands move away from your body. See that? How it kind of moves away? We're actually going to move them we're going to have you tuck your hands. Actually, tuck your hands into your armpit or shoulder area or rib cage, upper rib cage area. We'll kind of play around with it with you and see what's comfortable. But I love what we've done with your grip. We've loosened it up. We've created a little bit of air into your back elbow. Not raising it up, not putting that back elbow up, but just instead of it sticking into your rib cage, which you were before, you were it was too closed. We got some air into here. I like that much better. Now we can move on and go into manipulating that spine. Now the issue we're having is, besides the stepping out and the hands dropping, once we start working with this shoulder angle stuff, it probably will make this stuff disappear. I'd be surprised if it doesn't, because what we have to do is we got to get your spine motivated, or motivating your hand, the rest of your body, to that it's going to do the work and not your hands, because we're definitely arm barring right here, you can see, and this is causing putting a parachute on our barrel a little bit. Even though we're creating a lot of forward momentum, you're hitting the ball a lot harder than you would without the forward momentum. So we're definitely ahead of the curve. That's why you're still doing decent. But I want to take you to that next level and get it to where your hands don't have to do anything, where it's mostly spine. Your swing is spine driven. I know we've been working on that on our final turn, is turning with our spine and not using our hands so much. But when we start manipulating your spine, getting you into down shoulder angle and tucking your hands, what that's going to do for you is that's going to stop this. One of my hitters I've been doing this with, at least just the downward shoulder angle, he stopped arm barring, and this was a default pattern for him for so long, for years, for 4 or 5 years. And once we started doing the down shoulder angle and manipulating his spine, it just disappeared. So this is a low pitch too, so you're gonna go into that straight arm anyway. But there was one swing. I'm not sure if I gave you a cue or not. Let's see if it's this one. We actually did pretty good. Yeah, this one right here. Right there. That was actually a good swing. We kept our arm nice and bent the whole time. And one last thing, real quick. I would actually, let's not do the stepping out thing. Let's not do that this week yet. Not stepping in the bucket. Don't do that drill. I want you to actually work on your vision. Okay, because your vision, real quick, okay, once that front foot hits, I draw the circle real quick, and we get going. See how the head goes forward, and then our eyes are coming out in front of the ball. So I want you to take your nose and put it behind your barrel this week. Nose, put it behind the barrel on every swing. Remember, to and through contact. And we should be pretty good. Let me know if you got any questions, brother, but you're doing good. Keep it up.